Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
Good morning. What is happening, man? It's Tuesday morning. It's our little Tuesday training time, having some fun. We're a couple minutes late. Someone kiked my headphones in the office. Thankfully, I had a backup pair. My normal pair that I would use that were sitting somewhere on one of my desks, actually on that desk, I know for a fact, they're no longer here. We have a earbud kiper in the office. I'm calling them out. Whoever you are out there in Insurance Syndicate headquarters that kiped my earbuds, I want them back by the end of the show. After the end of the show. Don't be coming in here raising earbud hell while I'm on the air. Bring them later. But good morning, man. I hope you guys are doing well. We got a little bit of news going on. Couple of things that had come out, nothing like groundbreaking by any means, but just the state of affairs that seem to continue going on in our wonderful, wonderful Medicare world. So I've got some news that I want to share with you guys, and then a little bit of general Q&A. I found a couple of questions that were floating around some of the Facebook groups that I thought were interesting that we could dive into a little bit as well. And then certainly if you guys have any questions as you're tuning in about Medicare, whatever, just drop them in the chat. And we will definitely chat about them. But this show, as always, is brought to you by DFY CRM, my CRM of choice. If you are out there as an agent, for some reason you're not using a CRM, like you should highly consider changing that attitude. Matter of fact, we did. Grace has a women's team of entrepreneurs, business girls, etc. A lot of salespeople, a couple of them are in insurance, some of them are in coaching, a few other things. They do a Wednesday class where they get together and train, and they asked me to do some coaching with them I did one lesson with them on Facebook ads, and then last week we talked a little about CRMs, the importance of CRM, why you should have one, the types of CRMs that you should be looking for depending on the level of your business, maybe the sophistication of you and your business and what you're trying to accomplish. Right? Like if you're really brand new to CRMs and you're just an individual agent, something as sophisticated as Go High Level, as an example, may or may not be for you, right? Depending on what you're getting. Now, if you're getting it from, say, DFY or some of these other white labels out there that really do have it built out, like solid, where you don't need to do any of your own engineering, then that would be the smart way to go. But don't just like run up to Go High Level direct and think you're going to build your own CRM that way. That would be a terrible idea. But we kind of went through all of those things. Like, what are the different features that you should be looking for? What are some of the requirements of your business and how a CRM would affect that or not affect that in a positive or negative light? So we might roll that out here. I might do something like that for Tuesday training where we just talk about some of the different CRMs that are out there and what you should look for in a CRM. We can do that as a Tuesday training sometime if you want. I felt like it was a little basic personally. I would think every insurance agent out there that is at least somewhat profitable has some kind of CRM that they're using. I mean, it's a relationship business and it's built right into the acronym of CRM, customer relationship management. So if you understand that the name of this game and the way you make it the least bit lucrative is not necessarily just finding new customers, but it's keeping the ones that you have for years and years and years, that all comes from a CRM. Like, trying to keep that in your brain is not going to function well. So if you want to manage long-term relationships in the insurance business at any level, then having a CRM is the way to go, man. And again, I use DFY. There's a lot of reasons why we use DFY. One of the primary reasons is that Eric, the curator of it, administrator of it, has done a very good job building it out. Has a lot of great stuff already built for you. So it is one of the CRMs I would recommend for an individual agent that is kind of new to the space a little bit more, but knows they need something. It's got some great, pretty simplified automations and build outs in it. But then also it has plenty of room where I can come in and customize some of the things that are a little more tailored to my agency, which we've been working on. So a lot of great ones out there. That's the one I use. If you would like a demo, give me a holler or give Eric a holler. He's easy to reach. You can find him on the interwebs. Eric Fierro, Tim James, they will be happy to do a demo for you and show you what they're up to on it. I will tell you, I mean, matter of fact, I've said this several times recently. I wish they would hurry up and release the damn updates so that I can show them off instead of just talk about them, because they won't even let me talk about them too much. But they have some pretty fantastic updates coming out for their CRM, for DFY, that are going to be fairly amazing. I was floored, in all honesty, when Eric showed them to me. So I wish he would let me talk about them, but he won't. But I will tell you that if you're an agent that's out there and you like selling multiple products to the same customer, you're really going to like his updates. About as much as I can say. But all right, let's dive into a little bit of news, and then we'll jump into some of that Q&A that I'd mentioned for you guys real quick. So this just came in, and you guys may have seen this. I actually posted it in the group Friday or Saturday. I don't remember exactly when. Right towards the end of last week, this came out against Elevance. Elevance is the brand new name of Anthem. If you've been around the block for a while, you've probably heard of Anthem Medicare Advantage in various states, and they rebranded themselves a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago even, as Elevance. And then, they've shrunk some of their footprint as well. They've started really focusing on the D-SNP, C-SNP market a lot more, as many carriers have done recently, since that seems to be where the money's at. As a matter of fact, if you follow Jared Strzok at all, if you don't know who Jared Strzok is, he is, I guess you could say he's an actuary, probably one of the savviest actuaries in the Medicare space that I've met. Really does a good job keeping his finger on the pulse of the Medicare business. He's definitely posted on Facebook. I follow him. I seem to see his stuff more often on LinkedIn. But he published an excellent article and study recently regarding C-SNPs and D-SNPs and how all of these carriers are really cashing in and pushing on the special needs plans because, well, there's still more government money there. And so they're really focused on that space. But nonetheless, CMS freezes enrollment in Elevance Medicare Advantage and Part D plans. And this starts as a deadline of March 30th. So as come April 1st, at the end of this month, unless Elevance meets the government's demands, CMS's demands, there will be no enrollments of Anthem or Elevance starting April 1st. They are completely frozen. This is not the first time this has happened to any carrier. It may be the first time it's happened to Elevance, but I'm not certain. I can tell you that I know that Cigna HealthSpring, now called HealthSpring, back when it was just Cigna and Cigna HealthSpring, has been sanctioned at least twice. So it's not the end of a carrier if someone gets sanctioned and gets frozen for a while. It is going to be a hit. Like we've already seen their stock starting to drop and so forth. But it's happened to other carriers before where they're getting sanctioned and they get told, hey, we cannot do any enrollments whatsoever. None, zero, zip, nada. It can be painful, but it's not the end of a carrier. It's just a period where they got to get their shit together, so to speak, and meet the demands of what the government is asking them to do. And in this case, they want them to come back and write some diagnostic codes. More importantly, it's how they are submitting these reports, these diagnostic codes. They're not happy about it. But just right off the top, it says that the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services is freezing enrollment in Elevance's Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans, their MAPD plans, for alleged noncompliance with risk adjustment and data submission requirements. So again, it's not necessarily that they're doing a whole bunch of nefarious things, but Medicare is not happy with the fashion in which they are handling their risk adjustment and data submission. Basically, they're throwing a bunch of USB drives at them, and CMS has a process that they would much prefer, and Elevance is not using it, or at least hasn't used it. So CMS wants them to come back and correct that. Basically, again, I'll just kind of come right off the top. They're sanctioning Elevance Health by suspending both enrollment of Medicare beneficiaries into Elevance plans and any communication to Medicare beneficiaries. The intermediate sanctions are being imposed on certain MAPD contracts. The freeze effective March 31st. CMS said it would remain in effect until it is satisfied that the deficiencies have been corrected and are not likely to reoccur. However, if Elevance submits all data corrections for the potentially unverified diagnostic codes disclosed in its correspondence back from November 13th of 2018 all the way through October 10th, 25, and does this through CMS's official electronic systems, CMS would not effectuate the sanctions, and Elevance has to do that by March 30th. So they basically got 22 days to get this stuff back in order and get them back out there. So it's not, again, I mean, whether or not Elevance is doing anything really nefarious is hard to say. I would say that they are probably very guilty of upcoding, as many of the other carriers are. You guys may remember this article back from May of last year. It has Aetna at the top, but this was the Trump DOJ suing Elevance, Aetna, Humana, GoHealth, eHealth, and SelectQuote in a massive lawsuit regarding steering and upcoding, etc., where basically they were targeting DSNPs and CSNP people as the only people that they wanted. Why? Well, because there's more subsidy money in them. So you may remember that, and that's, I believe, is where this sanction against Elevance partially stems from. I can't connect them perfectly. It's kind of hard because there's not much information on that lawsuit at the moment. But if I had to guess, I would definitely say that lawsuit is where a part of these sanctions are coming from. So because Elevance is submitting their diagnosis information through external flash drives, right, which has been rejected by CMS, and they're not using CMS's preferred method, they could definitely have unsupported diagnosis codes. I mean, that's definitely one of the accusations within this article that you can check out. So basically, CMS found that Elevance failed to delete diagnosis codes that are not documented. They failed to report and return the overpayments no later than 60 days after the date that they were identified. They failed to submit risk adjustment data electronically in accordance with CMS, and they inaccurately certified the accuracy, completeness, and truthfulness of relevant data that CMS requests to determine the payment. So pretty simple. I mean, this shouldn't be anything like super shocking. We have definitely seen this administration come down hard on fraud, waste, and abuse, right? Very, very hard. And a matter of fact, I've got a little more info on that in some of these articles. But that is one regarding Elevance. So if you're a big Elevance fan, if you like slinging X-Anthem or Elevance products, they better get their shit together for you, or as of April 1st, you won't be able to write them, at least until they get their shit together. So again, I'm going to say it one more time. Sanctions are not the end of a carrier. It is just a freeze, and it is a temporary halt to their business. It's not the first time this has happened by any means. It's happened to Cigna twice. WellCare's been sanctioned as well. So hopefully they'll get their act together and then rebound and get back out there doing their thing. But they are not the only one. And this is an interesting article here. I mean, with all of the news that we continue to get about Medicare Advantage plans, fraudulent activity, upcoding, diagnosis codes, claims denial, excessive prior authorization, using AI to terribly deny claims, all of that stuff that we hear. We usually don't hear bad news about Medicare supplement plans. And it's one of the big reasons why, as agents, especially experienced agents, we tend to prefer Medicare supplement plans, because they're kind of, quote unquote, the Ron Popeil of Medicare. You can set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. They run almost perfectly on this auto renew, auto payment. Like you don't have issues. I've sold thousands of Medicare supplement plans in my 22 years, and I can think of maybe 5 times that I've ever had to get involved in a claim situation to help. And usually it was just there was a mix up in the way the claim was filed, whatever, and just resubmit it and it's approved. Like it has never been a big drawn out fiasco. But this is a pretty interesting one here. There's a class action lawsuit pointed at United Healthcare for Medicare supplement claims denials. Now, I've read through this article and I'm not 100% sure it holds water, but I'll explain it to you guys. See what you think. A new class action lawsuit claims that AARP, right, which is the nonprofit organization, right, that endorses but doesn't endorse Medicare plans from United Healthcare. The new class action lawsuit claims that AARP and United Healthcare Insurance Company fraudulently sell paid AARP memberships and Medicare supplement plans that promise to cover care Medicare does not pay for, while intending to deny reimbursement claims. I don't think that's true personally, because I know Medicare supplements so well. They're standardized. You can't do anything different from one side to the other. Like a plan G is a plan G is a plan G. If Medicare pays, your supplement pays. So I'm really struggling to see where this guy is getting his things. I want to follow this lawsuit and see where he goes. But just based on that first statement, I'm of the opinion this dude's about to lose his ass. But anyway, we're going to keep going. Plaintiff John Sacchi claims that companies have violated the New Jersey Consumer Fraud Act by fraudulently soliciting and breaching paid sales and renewals of AARP memberships and the self-titled AARP Medicare supplement plans from United Healthcare insurance policies administered by United. Sacchi argues that companies solicit sales and renewals of AARP memberships and the insurance policies for which sales AARP receives royalty fees while fully aware that United has violated for decades. For decades, the subject promises to pay for medically necessary health care not paid by Medicare. That, I would like to see where is that statement in their product? Where does it say that they promise to pay for medically necessary health care not paid by Medicare? Remember, Medicare supplements don't provide you new benefits. You don't get extra benefits. It's just covering the cost gap. So I'm having to assume that that's what he's talking about. Medically necessary health care not paid for by Medicare. I assume he's talking about the 20%. But the way that's worded sounds like he's saying, hey, I'm not getting these other benefits because they're not paid for by Medicare, and I should be getting more. That's what it sounds like. United, in fact, intends to continue systematically denying such claims by citing a phantom, non-existent condition that appears nowhere in the policy's subject certificate of insurance. What is that statement, that phantom clause? Sacchi claims that AARP and United have perpetrated their illegal company-wide policies of refusing rightful reimbursements against countless thousands of consumers throughout New Jersey and the United States. Sacchi wants to represent a nationwide class of consumers who, since 2014, were ARP members and had an AARP Medicare supplement plan from United Healthcare. The class includes people who had reimbursement claims for medically necessary care denied because the provider did not participate in or accept Medicare. I don't think that's United Healthcare's problem. I'm going to read that again. So again, like, I'm of the opinion that this doesn't hold any water, but y'all tell me what you think. The class includes people who had reimbursement claims for medically necessary care denied because the provider, the doctor, hospital, rehab facility, whatever it is, the provider did not participate or accept Medicare. Well, we know for a fact that if the doctor doesn't accept Medicare, original Medicare, then he's not going to accept Medicare supplement plans, period. And he's not required to. So I don't know where Mr. Sacchi claims that United Healthcare is promising that they will pay for benefits with providers that don't accept original Medicare. I'd like to see that statement because I don't think it exists. Saatchi demands a jury trial and requests declaratory and injunctive relief and an award for compensatory, general, incidental, and consequential damages, special damages, punitive damages, restitution, and disgorgement. Okay, and pre-post judgment interest. In other news, AARP agreed to pay $12.5 million to settle claims on some. This is something different regarding Facebook and Meta. That's it. That's all it says. Maybe we should reach out to Mr. Saatchi, see if we can get him on the podcast to talk about why he thinks he's owed money. I'm of the opinion that he's not. And I'm also of the opinion that United Healthcare is about to trounce all over him for this lawsuit. So interesting. Stay tuned on that one. Stay tuned on that one. Let's keep it going. Still sticking with fraud as always, because that's what they love to talk about. Wide-ranging fraud crackdown. Right? This is from a legal blog out there from JD Supra. Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services deferred $259 million in federal Medicaid funds to Minnesota. We already know about that. So $259.5 million in Medicaid funds to Minnesota are being deferred. There is a 6-month nationwide moratorium on new enrollments for certain durable medical equipment, prosthetics, orthotics, and supplies. And that they've also issued a request for information seeking stakeholder feedback under its CRUSH initiative. CRUSH is their new initiative that they've created to go after fraud, waste, and abuse, etc. I'm not going to go through this whole article, but I will get it in the group so you guys can check it out. The one that I wanted to hit mostly, like we're already kind of aware that, hey, yeah, there's something squirrely that's going on in Minnesota. I'm not going to dive into that, but there are definitely some Medicaid costs up there that appear to be very fraudulent. So they are deferring that funding. But here, this one's pretty interesting. And where do we see a lot of Medicare fraud come from? We see it come from durable medical equipment, right? I've been talking about that whole deal with the catheters that we just had almost $4 billion, right? We had the couple out in Scottsdale, Arizona, $1.2 billion. That's technically not durable medical equipment, but they're doing skin grafts, but it kind of falls in that same spot. But we've seen this time and time again. There was another guy with the genetic screening kits, et cetera, et cetera. So here's what they're doing. CMS announced a 6-month nationwide moratorium on new Medicare enrollments for certain DMEPOS companies. That is durable medical equipment, prosthetic, orthotic. I can't remember what the S stands for, but basically DME and prosthetics, right? The moratorium applies to initial enrollment applications and changes in majority ownership. The agency noted that it prevented approximately $1.5 billion in suspected fraudulent DME POS billing in 2025 and intends to use the moratorium period to implement additional safeguards. So yeah, so they are going after DME. So if there's a new DME provider that is trying to get enrolled in Medicare, no, that's not going to happen anytime soon for 6 months. And they are going to also work on some verifying changes in majority ownership, because that was one of the issues with that Sunshine Senior Solutions as well, is that they had recently changed ownership because they caught one dude and he's in prison, but then all they did was somehow get the ownership changed, and now they had the Russian guy here in Austin that just got picked up that was affiliated with them. It's wild, man. So goes through some of the other types of DMEs that are in here, different claims, et cetera, et cetera. I'll get this in the group. You guys can check that out. Some of the different measurements that they are going to for fraud. I've already talked a little bit about this, but I'm going to point it out again real quick. This is an article from NPR. Again, same thing. They're going after diagnosis upcodes. One of the things that is out there here, the chart reviews. This is a practice that a lot of carriers are doing. United Healthcare is one of them. A lot of times they'll schedule a home visit, and they'll go out and do their chart review. And what are they doing? They're looking for additional medical diagnoses. Even if there's no treatment going on, they're looking for additional diagnosis codes that they can add. Why? Because they get more money. So CMS says, no, we don't like that. I mean, we're okay with you upcoding them if you're giving them treatment for that diagnosis, but don't just diagnose them with no treatment being undergone in that space and then ask us to pay the extra money for it. So that's pretty much what this article is all about. Another way that they do upcoding. I'll throw that in there for you guys. You can check that article out. We already know this is kind of a thing, but they are very much cracking down on the home health care visits that are designed for this, I shouldn't call them home health care visits, the home health visits, and then these chart reviews where they're hunting for new diagnosis codes. Cracking down on that. Maybe we'll see that go away. Ooh. Man, if you're in Vermont, I'm sorry. If you're an agent in Vermont, it just keeps getting tougher. Or if you're a Medicare beneficiary in Vermont, it keeps getting tougher. More Medicare Advantage plans seem to be exiting Vermont. Thousands of Vermonters face the loss of Medicare Advantage plans and must navigate through a muddle of insurance regulations before open enrollment ends December 7th. So this was an older article, but I had missed some of this, and so I wanted to just kind of pop it back up there about some of the carriers that are exiting. Mainly Vermont Blue is a big one, but there's been other exits in Vermont. So this is one of the states that has been getting hammered. And kind of as a reminder, if anybody was out there that lost their Medicare Advantage plan, guess what? They have also lost or missed their 63-day SEP window. That is definitely over now. That is definitely over. So anybody now that had a plan exit of any sort, yeah, you don't have that option anymore. So I feel bad for some of those folks that got stuck in some of these states where plan exits were much more massive. I know Idaho was one that struggled. The Dakotas are definitely one that struggled. Vermont is right up there as well. Pretty rough. So, all right. So with that said, I want to dive into just some general Q&A stuff. If you guys got any questions in the chat, feel free to drop them in there. Anything that you think I might know about or want to bring up. But I'm going to show you a couple more that I picked out of groups. If someone qualifies for LIS but signs up for an MAPD, will LIS pay for any of the MAPD premium, assuming there is a premium, right? Because a lot of these Medicare Advantage plans are zero premium, and certainly the vast majority of them that people enroll in are zero premium. But what if they have LIS and they enroll in an MA plan that does have premium? Will their LIS cover any of that Medicare Advantage premium? What do you say in the chat? If I had the Jeopardy tune, I would play it for a second so y'all can think about that. But I'm curious, will LIS pay for any of that MAPD premium? Yes or no? Both answers are correct. No, they won't. And yes, they will. Or they're technically both correct because it depends. It depends on if any of the premium that is built into that plan is assigned to the Part D benefits, right? And there's a certain benchmark level threshold. But if some of that premium is being assigned to the Part D benefits portion of the plan, then yeah, LIS would cover a portion of that part of the premium. But they won't just in general knock out the MAPD premium as a whole, right? So like if you enroll someone and say a $23 premium for a Medicare Advantage plan, they have LIS, they will not just completely eliminate that premium. Unless for some reason that entirety of the premium is going to the Part D benefits, but they're probably not, right? So it's possible that some of it will get paid for. I wouldn't guarantee it. Because again, it's going to depend. You'll need to dig into that plan a little more, find out how much of that premium is being used towards the Part D benefits. Moving on, here's another good one. Is it illegal for a company that specializes in Medicare sales to write all of their business of 8 agents under the owner for each carrier just to ensure they reach the bonus. Of course, this was thankfully posted by someone in Facebook anonymously. I mean, if you're going to post anonymously in some of these Facebook groups, these are the types of questions you should be asking. Because while it's not illegal, like fraudulently illegal, it's a good way to get your contract terminated by an insurance company, right? You are definitely not allowed to let other agents write and sign applications on your behalf, period. I mean, you could argue that that is insurance fraud at some level. It's definitely frowned on by carriers, and that would be a great way, number one, to lose your contract. But number two, it's a great way to put your clients in jeopardy because that gives some space for an insurance company to just rescind a policy. I mean, if the person that wrote it is not the person that signed it, right? And I know this for a fact because I've unfortunately seen this happen, right? So again, it's not illegal. You aren't not going to go to jail for it, but you can definitely risk your contract with the insurance companies that you might be doing this for. And more importantly, you could certainly be putting your clients at risk of having claims not get paid, having policies get rescinded, which creates an E&O claim for you. So, I mean, it's definitely a great way to get yourself on track to get removed from the business altogether, right? You cannot allow other agents to write business under your number. And just in case you're like not sure what he's talking about here, let's say, for example, Bankers Fidelity is a Medicare supplement carrier that I like a lot. We write a good amount of it. They have a trip coming up to, I think it's Italy, if I remember right, next year. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they have a trip to Italy coming up. I might be confused with my own trip to Italy, but I want to say they're promoting their trip to Italy. Now, I personally probably, especially me, because I don't full-time write business anymore anyway. I do write some still. I won't qualify for that trip on my own production, right? There's a very good chance that I won't. And technically, I don't think many of my agents would qualify for that trip on their own production. Not because we don't write enough Medicare supplement business, but well, actually, yes, because we don't write enough Medicare supplement business. Because most of our business, I would say 85, 90% of the business that come through this shop is Medicare Advantage business. It's what the clients want. It's what they're asking for, right? And it's what we're writing. We're not going to argue with them that hard. We can educate them till we're blue in the face, but ultimately they're the ones that make the choice of where they lie. Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage. So yeah, we do not write enough Medicare supplement business as an individual agent. I might qualify as an agency as we continue to grow. And that's what this guy's asking here. Like, hey, can I get all of my agents to just write Bankers Fidelity under my number? That way I would get to go, or maybe this agent would get to go, and we'll kind of move those around. And yeah, you definitely can't do that. You definitely cannot do that. I have seen agents do this practice, not necessarily to hit the bonus, to go on the trip or whatever it was. In most cases, they were doing it just because it was an easier way to do business, right? I don't have to get all of my agents licensed in every single state. I can just give them access to my login for ABC Insurance Company, and they can go on there and bang out that Medicare supplement plan with that company or that hospital indemnity plan or whatever it might be. They can just write under my code, right? Matter of fact, something like this came out recently in the ACA space, because I believe agencies were allowing that, where they were having downline agents that were all just submitting business under the MGA, the top level producers code. Can't do that, man. Whoever the agent is that's on the phone, whoever the agent is that's face to face with the client, the one that's doing the presenting, the selling, that's the one that's got to sign the app. That is how it goes. That is pretty much in the rules and regulations of the game. Got one more, and this has been a hot topic as of just recently, because the conference is right around the corner. Coming up next month is the Medicarians conference. This guy says, hey, I'm a longtime captive and new independent broker. Is Medicarians worth going to? Now, I would immediately say yes. And we're going to look at the Medicarian site and get a gander of it and see, hey, is this something that as an agent that is actually beneficial to me? I have been to, now, and just to give you some history, Medicarians has been around. The event itself has been around for decades. It used to be called the Medicare Supplement Conference. It was created and managed by a gentleman named Jesse Sloan, longtime veteran of the business. And he, for the most part, ran a solid conference. When he ran it, I will say it didn't really have the pop and sizzle and flash and panache that the Medicarians conference has, but he put together a valuable conference. And for the longest time, as the Medicare Supplement Conference, it was the industry standard for a place where agents, FMOs, et cetera, can get together and talk about trends in the business. Now, I will say that when Jesse created it and ran it, it was mostly geared towards executive level people, right? Your top level FMOs, your top level carrier executives, et cetera, where they would get together and they would talk at a very high level about the direction of the industry, the trends that are coming, regulation, what do they see? What are some of the new product niches that are going to get explored and grow? Like, where do they see the business moving to as a whole? And then he ran one day at the event that was called Agent Free Day. And generally, he tried to gear the material on the Agent Free Day, which meant you get to come for free, no ticket price. He would try to gear that material to more field level information, right? How do I get better at selling Medicare supplements, right? What are the nuances in underwriting Medicare supplements? How do I learn to cross market final expense with Medicare supplements? Blah, blah, blah. All of that type of information. And if you went for just the Agent Free Day, yeah, you would get good field level information, but you would miss out on some of the higher level talks. Now, since it's been purchased, right, the guys that run LeadCon, as I remember, came and bought the Medicare Supplement Conference, rebranded it Medicarians. Still pretty much the same concept for the most part. Although they've dumped a lot of money into it, it is a lot flashier. It is a lot bigger. It's got a lot more panache. There's a lot more attendees than when it was Jesse Sloan's conference. There's a lot more going on, and I will dare say it's a lot more fun. I don't remember Jesse Sloan running the event where we had Rob Bass and Tone Loke and Stephen McGrath from Sugar Ray all come and sing for us. And some of the, who was there? I can't remember who the guy was last year now that came out and did a show. Can't even think of his name, but big time hip hop guy. And that was a wild show. I mean, they were spraying champagne in the audience. They got a producer on stage, and I think they had him down to his pants. Like, he was having a good time. Anyway, since LeadsCon guys bought it over and rebranded it Medicarians, they've blown it up quite a bit. And they've gotten rid of the Agent Free Day, right? There is no more Agent Free Day. There are ways to get to the conference with no cost. You can register as an agency sponsor, right, for no money, and make a couple of commitments that, hey, I promise I'll attend this meeting or that meeting, and you'll get an allotment of free tickets that you can hand out. I've already mentioned that, hey, I'm one of the agency sponsor people, whatever, and I think they gave me like 8 or 10 tickets. So I've already handed out probably all of them or most of them. But I may have a couple of stragglers if you're still looking for a ticket and you don't want to have to pay. I think it's $1,600 is the ticket price on this thing. Right? So it is not free. You definitely have to pay to go. But should you go? Like, that's the whole thing. Well, what do they say? They have a who should attend button here. What do they say? They say who should attend and why. Agents and brokers should attend, they say. Why? Because you'll learn directly from major carriers, health plans, and regulators about the forces shaping our industry. Number 2, you'll get expert guidance from the most successful and forward-thinking producers and agency owners in the country. And their third bullet point for why agents should attend is that you can network with 4,000 plus like-minded players in the Medicare, ACA, and senior wealth distribution landscape. 4,000 is correct. Last year, I want to say we had over 4,000 registered. I don't know if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember the number of people that actually attended. It was extremely high. I don't know if it was 4,000. It might have been, but it was packed. There was a lot of people there. They also say that agency owners and principals should attend. Here's why. Discover how fellow agency owners are navigating a complex and competitive market, staying efficient and nimble with new technology. Learn how to scale your agency without compromising service to clients. And number 3, accelerate your growth by developing new relationships with FMOs, IMOs, carriers, health plans, and agents. Now, some of the comments you'll see when people ask this question, like, hey, I'm a longtime agent. Should I go to Medicarians? The vast majority of responses that I see a lot of times are like, well, it's kind of like a trade show. And it very much is. Giant expo hall, huge trade show. So you get to see a lot of different carriers, right? Some of the new products they might be pushing out in the marketplace, right? They have a whole booth dedicated to puppies. It's actually an FMO. I can't remember who runs it, but all they have is a bunch of puppies running around their little area. Smart way, get you in there, put a puppy in your hands, and then they can talk to you about their FMO. So you'll see IMOs and FMOs, right? Integrity will be in there. AmeriLife will be in there with a lot of their partners. You can go talk to them about their FMO, why you should maybe work with them. What are some of the things they provide agents and agency owners versus others? So definitely there is that trade show aspect to it, but there is more than that. And the best way to answer that question is to look at the actual agenda, because they do have the full agenda posted, right? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can check out the entire agenda and see what is going on. And here's why this is what I would dig into if I was an agent to decide whether or not I should go. And I'll give you my answer immediately for the most part. I think every agent should at least go once. And the big reason why is back on their who should attend is this right here. This top statement: learn directly from major carriers, health plans, and regulators about the forces that shape our industry. I think that it is a very smart idea as an agent. If you're looking at this business as, hey, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, this is a career path for me, then you should want to know where our industry is going, not just where we're at. And those are some of the conversations that you can listen to and hear from, and some of the people that you can rub shoulders with that are very aware of where our industry is going and not just where we're at. They can help you understand what is it going to look like next year? What is it going to look like in 5 years? What are some of the new technologies going to come out? What are some of the new health plan designs that you're going to see in the future? Right? That's one of the best things I can say about Medicarians is that it will give you, if you tune into some of the right meetings, agendas, panels, whatever, you can get that type of info. 100%. If there's one great thing about Medicarians, it is definitely about being able to get in the room to hear people that are talking about where we're going to be in the future and not just what it's like today. Now, if you're an agent out there and you're like, hey, I want to go to a conference that teaches me how to sell hospital indemnity plans, this is probably not that event. This is probably not that event. I'm not saying that conversation is not happening because last year at Medicarians, I did a roundtable discussion on cross marketing specifically and talked about bundling business on a single call versus the secondary call. So those conversations are happening at some level, but it's not like they're gonna be a massive whole class for an hour long with some of the top hospital indemnity marketers teaching you how to market hospital indemnity, right? But you can look at the agenda and you can see what conversations are happening, right? Because every day there is a certain meeting going on somewhere talking about stuff. And they do have it even all the way down there. First things first. What you need to get started as a Medicare agent. So even if you're the brand new super greenhorn that is like, hey, what is this a space that I even want to get into? Maybe you're an ACA agent or a life agent. You're like, I'm thinking about Medicare. They got a meeting right there. Now it is only 10 minutes long. It's a short meeting because what they're really trying to drive you towards is this Medicare 101 meeting that's going to get into a little bigger, right? And then from there, they can talk about how you can deploy it, etc. So they've got on day one, they've got a handful of early morning tracks to get you understanding that. More importantly, they got a whole track on the CMS proposed rule. They'll even let you look up the different people that are speaking in these different classrooms or whatever, so you can see. You could, I mean, you might even be able to get in a room with Laura Beth Hull here. She's the VP of Medicare Distribution with Elevance, and ask her how the sanctions are going. You know, but yes, so you have all these tracks, and if you plan your time spent well, like if you're just going there for the party, you're just going there for the networking, hey, no problem with that, man. I'm on board. It is definitely one of the funnest conferences to go to, easily, because of the parties that are thrown, especially the final one. But if you take the time and you maybe punch through this agenda, this is going to tell you, in my opinion, whether or not you should go. But if you've never been, I would advise you to go to get a better understanding, number one, of what the event is like, right? Dig into some of these tracks so that you can actually get some information that can help you. Like right here is a great one, the MedSup Cross-Sell Playbook. Probably a really good one here. Like, who's speaking on this? Galen Hendricks is speaking in it. Excellent choice. Right? So there are definitely some classrooms that you can jump into and listen that will give you skill sets that you can use to be a more advanced agent in the business. But then more importantly, like, you're going to get exposed to information that of where this future is headed. Like right here, the whole future of healthcare with ICHRA and community and consumer choice, transforming Medicare Advantage. Like, who's talking about this one? I'm curious. Dawn Maroney, familiar with her, very sharp. Do not know Marissa. And they'll probably get some more people in there as well. So there are definitely a lot of great conversations in here. So again, like, if you're an agent that's out there, you're like, oh no, it's just a big trade show, no need to go to that. I mean, I would kind of argue with that, because I've been many years, and any event is what you make of it. If you just go, like I said, if you just go to the event for the networking, the drinks, and the big concert at the end of it, hey, that's great. You're not going to get as much, right? Maybe you made some money gambling. Maybe you did. Maybe you got to catch a couple of other cool shows while you were out there in Vegas. But if you really want to go to the event, like, you want to take time to dig into these agendas and figure out, hey, like, how do I make the most of this event? How do I get the right knowledge that I'm looking for in my event? And then, yeah, maybe visit some of the trade show area in Expo Hall and meet some folks, because there's a lot going on in there. But like, you can, like, here's a great topic right here: the future of the Medicare agent in the age of AI. Excellent stuff. So they're obviously still building a lot of this out, getting all their guests. Here's the Medicare supplement payers. What we need to do is talk about the fraud problem. That's going to be a higher level conversation. But a lot of great stuff, man. And I would say, again, like, my answer is simple. If you are an agent in this space and you've never been to this event, you should at least go once. And I would say, I mean, maybe this isn't the event that you go to every single year, but I would say this is the event that you try to go to once every few years. Here's another great one by Spark. They're putting this one on. This is probably going to be in a very, very, very good track or class right here. The future of MA, the end of business as usual. Like, if you're an agent out there and you're in the Medicare Advantage space, it's one of the heavy things you do, like it is for us. Like, this is probably a super, super informative class to go to right here. But if all you do is roam around the trade show, then yeah, you're going to think, oh yeah, it's just a big trade show thing. There's not like any information there. There's a ton of information at this event. You just have to be the one that goes out and finds it. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on whether or not you should or should not go to Medicarians. I would say go for sure. I will not be there this year. I was planning to be there this year, but I took an opportunity to travel Europe after an event that I'm going to in Portugal. So I will actually be in France about the time that all you guys are hanging around at Medicarians. But I do have a couple of tickets left. If you're out there and you're looking for a ticket to Medicarians, drop it in the chat or DM me, and I will talk to you about what you got to do. Just a simple registration, bang it out, and there you go. And you can join the fun. It is a great event. And if you're out there, tell my buddy Chris Bell hello. You will see him at the after party for sure. Have an awesome Tuesday. That is the show. We will see you next Tuesday with more information. Take it easy.